This was 10 years ago. Al Jazeera English goes on the air.
Welcome to the world news from Al Jazeera.
The channel based in Doha, Qatar, becomes the first English language television network to broadcast from the Middle East.
The Democratic Republic of Congo, where
Its first news hour featured correspondents covering areas underreported by international news outlets, offering a new perspective on world events.
Jazeera English has been working so hard to be the voice of the voiceless again, as Al Jazeera's slogan says, in countries where the people didn't have a voice.
I'm Farais Sebenzo in Zimbabwe, where every day can be a battle for survival.
I'm Haru Mitasa in Darfur.
Part of Al Jazeera English global agenda, a global staff.
I'm Raghi Omar in Tehran.
This is the southern fringe of the Great Sahara Desert.
Reporting from regions they often called home, bringing in-depth local knowledge to international news.
Many of them were trained in Benghazi.
Al Jazeera has a huge network of correspondents with 80 bureaus around the world.
We're really planted, deliberately so, in areas where there aren't other news bureau, and that allows us to find from the roots what's happening, what's going on, and to provide stories which are much more rooted in the people who are at the heart of those stories.
Al Jazeera English's coverage of world events was widely recognized as balanced and insightful from the beginning, but this was its most defining moment.
The atmosphere in the
Its
square
teams
is
were almost everywhere during the 2011 Arab Spring, capturing dramatic moments. Mass protests in Tunisia, the downfall of Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak, the death of Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, the uprising in Yemen, and war in Syria. But governments in the region were sometimes critical of Al Jazeera's coverage. In 2013, Al Jazeera journalists were arrested by Egyptian authorities. They were accused of fabricating news and sentenced to 7 years in jail. Allegations the network has always denied. Al Jazeera journalists were later released under mounting pressure from world leaders and human rights activists.
People here are really angry. What they're saying is that whoever...
Al Jazeera's journalists have faced many difficulties working in the region, but the network continues to reach new audiences.
And I think it has been a breath of fresh air. It's a really interesting additional competition, especially in marketplaces like America, where perhaps it hasn't had market cut through, but at least represented an attempt to do something different.
Al Jazeera English channel broadcasts to more than 280 million households across 135 countries. It's part of an ever-growing media network that aims to reach out to viewers all over the world. Hashem Ahelbarra, Al Jazeera, Doha.